So today we are going to read our story. We're going to read our story for today. And like I've been saying last week and this week, our story is going to have a dog in it. We are going to read a story with a dog. And yesterday, we learned all of those new vocabulary words that we could use with dogs. So, thank you. I am closing annotations. Thank you, everyone. All right. And we are going to be reading a story called Henry and Mudge. Our story is called Henry and Mudge. And today is Wednesday, the 29th of December. We only have a few more days left. Billo, yes, what's your question?
I read this story first already.
You read the story already. There's many Henry and Mudge books. So you may not have read the one that we are reading in class today. I know when I was young, my mom would read me these books, and there is many Henry and Mudge books. All right. And even if we have read it before, we can still read it again and learn something new. Every time we read a book, we can learn something new. I know I read books over and over again, and each time I get a different experience out of it. I learned something different that I may have missed the first time I read it. That's why we read stories multiple times. All right, so we will be reading Henry and Mudge. Let's first go over our homework from last night. Our homework from last night was Reader's Notebook, page 12. This was about doing ABC order. Thank you, Philip. I see your homework. Who else has their homework? Reader's Notebook, page 12. We were putting our vocabulary words in alphabetical order, ABC order. Let's get out. Yes.
When we have a S, we write stood and straight, right?
Yes. So we are going to put all of these words up here in the word bank in ABC order. So we go through the words. We find the ones with the smallest letters. So the letter that's closest to the beginning of the alphabet, and then we work our way down from there. So typically we look through all of the words and we try to find a word just with an A. If there's no words that start with an A, we go to a B. Is there any words with a B? And then we go on and on and on, so forth. If there's two words with the same first letter, we then look at the second letter in the words so we can determine which one goes first. So if the words have the same first letter, we look at the second letter in the word. If the words have the same first two letters, we then look at the third letter in the word to see what order it should go in for ABC order, alphabetical order. All right, so who can tell me the first word in our ABC order? I see Philip very nicely with his hand up. I see Billo. Anyone else would like to answer? Let's put our hands up. I will call on Philip first. What word goes first in our ABC order, Philip?
The one go in the ABC order is the word big.
Very good. The word big. Since we have no words that start with an A, we then go on to B. So in our word bank up here with our vocabulary words, the word that starts with a B is big. So that goes first in our ABC order. Now we're going to look through the rest of the words and try to find the words that start with a C. Let's start with a C. Billo, can you find our next word in ABC order? So we have two words with a C.
Curly and collar.
So we have two words with a C. Very good. Collars and curly. So since both these words start with a C, let's look at the second letter in both of these words and see which one comes first. Does an O come first or does a U come first? Is an O come before U? If we go through the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I, if you go all the way through it, is O before U?
Yes.
Yeah, O is before U. So if we have collars. Very good.
And
so yes, we have collars and then we have curly. Very good. So since they both start with a C, we then have to look at the second letter in the word. So Collars has an O as its second letter, and curly has a U. Since O comes before U in the alphabet, we put collars first and then curly. All right. So now we are going to continue on with our alphabet, and we are going to search and try to find a D. We're going to try to find a D. Can I have Mingha? Can you find our next word in our ABC order? Which one goes after curly? So we have drooled and dog. So we have to try to figure out which word comes first. So they both start with a D. So we have to look at their second letters. There's an O and an R. In our alphabet, which comes first, an O or an R? An R. So if we go through the entire alphabet, it's the O comes first. An O comes first. So O comes first, and then R's all the way at the end with RSTUV. So we have O first. So it's curly, and then it's dog. All right.
Rojo.
Let's go to the next word. The next word. Can I have Vivian? Can you find our next word in ABC order after dog?
Floppy.
So we're still looking for any more D's. So we have a B, C, C. Very good. Drooled and then floppy. Very good. We have drooled and then floppy. So drooled, because it has another D, and the second letter is an R, and the R comes after the O in dog. So it's dog, then drooled, and then we don't see any words start with an E, so we move on to F, and that is the word floppy. Like we have big floppy ears. All right, so let's keep going and see which word comes after floppy. Afwang, which word comes after floppy? So we are now going to skip a lot of letters in our alphabet and try to find the word that comes next after floppy.
Means we need to find the letter F, right, Miss Kelly?
Yes, so we're trying to find the letter F, but we don't see any more with F, and I don't see any with G, H, I, J, K. We don't see any of those. The last words that we have are words that start with an R, an S, or a W. So out of R's, S's, and W's, which ones come next in the alphabet? Which is the smallest, the one that goes to the beginning of the alphabet?
Row.
Yeah, very good. So row is our closest thing to the beginning of the alphabet. R is the closest to an F, so it would be floppy and then row. It would be floppy and then row. Very good. All right. So after row, we're going to look and see if there's any more R words. And if there's not any more R words, we go to S's. QK, can you help us find our next word after row?
Straight is the first because A.
So let's take a look. So we are now seeing that there needs to be an S next. So we have straight and we have stood. So both straight and stood start with an S. And their second letter is what, QK?
T.
T. So they both have T's. So then we have to look at the third letter. Since the first two letters are the same, we have to look at the third letter in our words. So what's the third letter?
First. A is the first.
So we have R
A.
and O. So which comes first?
First. A.
So we're looking at the third letter. So the third letter in straight is an R, and the third letter in stood is an O. So out of an O and an R, we're looking at the third letter in straight and the third letter in stood. The third letter in straight is an R, and the third letter in stood is an O. Does an O become before an R in the alphabet? Or does it?
O comes first, the R.
The O comes before the R. So the next word.
First.
Yeah, so the next
After.
word would be stood. So the O comes before the R in the alphabet. Since the first two letters, the S and the T, are the same, we look at the third letter in the word. The third letter in the word is R, and the third letter is an O. So we have to put stood before straight. So we'll put stood, and then we'll put I know this can be confusing. We'll continue to practice our ABC order. All right. So stood comes before straight because the O comes before the R, the third letter. Since the S and the T are the same in both words, we need to look at our third letter. All right. And our last one, our last word in alphabetical order, we have to see which one goes last. Lamang, which one goes last in our ABC order for our vocabulary words? What's our last word here?
The last word is wait.
Very good. Our last word is wade. So W comes after S. So we went through the alphabet. Sometimes it really helps when we do ABC order to have the entire alphabet in front of us so we can write out the alphabet. And then as we go through our word bank, we can look at the alphabet and see, okay, this word goes at the beginning of the alphabet. This word goes at the end. So next time we do this, I will put an alphabet out so we can take a look at it and see how it can help us. And if we have homework, I would recommend writing out our alphabet as we go. All right. Good job, everyone. We will continue to practice our ABC order. Before we read our story about a dog, we're going to go over animal traits. Animal traits. Vivian, can you help read about animal traits for us?
Dogs are also different in some ways. Some dogs are short, some dogs are tall. Some have long, skinny tails. Some have short, fluffy tails. The different ways a dog can look are called traits. Each dog traits make it special. In Henry and Mudge, you read about one dog who looks different from all the others.
Very good reading, Vivian. All right, so you'll probably learn about this in science class more as well, but traits are the ways that people and animals can look the same or different from each other. So I know all of us look different from one another. We all have different traits or characteristics that make ourselves unique, just like these dogs over here on the left. All of these dogs in the picture look kind of different. Some of them might have the same color fur, but they have different ear shapes. Some of them have pointy ears. Some of them have floppy ears. Some of them have big tails. Some of them, we can't see their tails at all. So all of these dogs have different traits, different ways that make them look different. So in our story today, we'll have a dog who looks different than the rest of the dogs. All right. And our genre for today, we will be reading a realistic fiction. Can anyone tell me what they think a realistic fiction means? So this, we'll do a very educated guess. Maiwa, what do you think a realistic fiction is?
Realistic fiction is a story that could happen in real life.
Very good. So the word realistic is something that could happen in real life. So if something is really realistic, it's something that could potentially happen in real life. So sometimes when we watch a cartoon or an anime, the style of the animation is very realistic. It looks like it could actually be happening in real life. Even though it's fake and it's just people drawing, it could look really realistic. It can look like real people. So that's an example of something being realistic. So we can break up the word into realistic and fiction. So realistic is something that could happen in real life. And then fiction is something that is make-believe. We've read fiction stories before. Fiction, remember, is fantasy or make-believe. So if we put these two words together, realistic fiction, it's a story that could happen in real life. So it's fake. It's not something that actually happened, but it could happen. It's very realistic. This is a story that could potentially happen in real life, but it didn't. So it's a fiction. It's a make-believe, but it's very real-like. This could happen to one of us in our real lives. So as we read, we're going to look for characters who act like real people, and story events that could happen to you or to someone you know. So this story is very realistic. It's something that could happen in real life. It's a fake story, but it could happen in real life. So it's a realistic fiction. Find out who our author is. Our author today is Cynthia Rylant. Can I have Daisy, can you read about our author, Cynthia Rylant?
Hen and Mud.
So their names are Henry and Mudge. Henry and Mudge. Very good.
Have started in more than 25 books by.
So they made a musical out of some of her stories. So musical is when they are on a stage in front of a whole bunch of people and they sing and they dance. And the dog character in our story, Henry and Mudge, was played by a grown man in a dog costume. So it was a very big man in a dog costume, and he was playing the part of the dog. And then we have our illustrator over here. Her name is Susie Stevenson. And Susie Stevenson loves drawing the character of Mudge. In fact, she has 2 big dogs of her own, but they don't drool as much as Mudge, she says. So Susie is the person who drew the pictures for our story, and Cynthia wrote our story. She wrote our story. And our story is Henry and Mudge by Cynthia Rylant, illustrated by Susie Stevenson. And our essential question as we read is, what is a perfect pet like? Last week, we finished our opinion writing about what animal makes a good pet. So we kind of have some ideas in our mind of a pet that we think would make a very good, and an animal that would make a very good pet. So as we read this story, let's keep in mind, what is a perfect pet like? So try to think of what pet would make the perfect pet. What animal would make the perfect pet? And our story will begin now. Can I have Danyang, can you read page 16 for us?
Harry had no brother and no sister. I want a brother, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Harry had no friend on his street.
Very good. So our characters' names are Henry, and Mudge. So they're kind of funny names. So Henry had no brothers and no sisters. I want a brother, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Henry had no friends on his street. So he had no brothers, no sisters, and no friends on his street. Lavi, can you read page 17 for us?
I want to live on a different street, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Harry had no pets at home. I want a dog, he told his parents. Sorry, they almost said.
Very good. So Henry had no brothers and no sisters and no friends on his street, and he wants to live on a different street, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Henry had no pets at home. I want to have a dog, he told his parents. Sorry, they almost said. So the word almost means that they were going to say sorry, but they haven't said sorry yet. So they haven't said no to him getting a dog yet. So what does Henry, I'm sorry, I'm calling him Harry now. What does Henry want? What does Henry want that he doesn't have here? What does he want? What does he say that he wants? What do we think? I see Philip's hand up. I see Ruby's hand up. Does anyone else know what Henry wants? So he first wants a brother. His parents say sorry. Then he wants to move. His parents say sorry again. And then he asks for a dog. He then wants a dog. And let's see if his parents say yes to him having a dog. So he wants a brother, then he wants to move, and then he wants a dog. All right, let's find out if Henry is able to get a dog. Can I have?
But first, they looked at their house with no brothers and sisters. They both looked at their street with no children. They looked at Henry's face.
Very good. So they first looked at their house with no brothers and sisters. Then they looked at their street with no children. Then they looked at Henry's face. So Henry is kind of sad and lonely because he doesn't have any brothers, he doesn't have any sisters, he doesn't have any kids to play with, and he doesn't have a pet.
Then they looked at each other. Okay, they said, I want to hug you. Henry told his parents, and he did.
Very good.
Henry squeezed in the middle of his parents.
Yes, he's squeezed in
squeeze.
between. He's squeezed in between his parents. So they looked at each other.
But his neck is in there. So why is his neck so big?
We can see his body is here. So in this picture over here, we can see he has a blue sweatshirt on. And then over here, we can see his sweatshirt. So he's kind of on the other
what the dogs
side.
look like, but I know it has floppy ears and he always drew.
All right, well, let's not ruin it for everyone else. Let's stay on this one page, all right? So the parents, they said, okay. So they said yes to Henry getting his dog. So Henry's going to get his dog. And Henry got very, very happy. And that's why he wants to hug his parents. He's happy that they said yes to him getting a dog. All right, so let's see what happens next. We see a whole bunch of dogs. And let's see what type of dog Henry wants. Balhan, can you read page 21 for us?
Henry searched for a dog. Not just any dog, said Henry. Not a short one, he said. Not a curly one, he said, and no point ear.
Very good. So Henry searched for a dog. Not just any dog, said Henry. Not a short one, he said. Not a curly one, he said, and no pointed ears. He doesn't want any pointed ears. So which of these dogs over here do you think Henry wouldn't want? So let's look at these dogs over here. So let's see, are there any dogs with curly hair that he wouldn't want? Do we see any with curly hair? What about this one down here? Does this one have curly hair? No, this one doesn't have curly hair. What about this poodle looking one? Would Henry want this poodle looking one with curly hair?
No.
No. What about this hot dog that's very short? Would Henry want the short one? No.
No.
What about these ones with the pointy ears? The pointy ears?
No.
So we can cross out these ones. What about these two over here that are short and look like they're kind of fluffy, and this one kind of has pointy ears? What about those? Would he want these?
Don't know.
No.
Yes.
What about this one?
No.
No. So
No.
Henry doesn't want any ones that are short. He doesn't want any ones that are curly, that have twists in their hairs, and no pointed ears, none with pointed ears. So maybe he would want this dog over here with the spots, or this one down here that looks very playful, or this big one that has the floppy ears. We'll find out and see which type of dog Henry wants.
I think
Then he found Mudge. Mudge have floppy ears, not point, and Mudge have straight fur, not curly. But Mudge was short because he's a puppy. Henry said, he'll grow.
Very good. So we have Mudge down here. So then he found Mudge. Mudge had floppy ears, not pointed, and Mudge had straight fur, not curly. But Mudge was short because he's a puppy, Henry said. he'll grow. So Henry thinks that Mudge is going to grow because he's only a puppy right now. Zuktree, can you read page 23 for us?
He grew out of his puppy cage. He grew out of his dog cage. He grew out of 7 collars in a row. And when he finally stopped growing.
Very good. So Mudge was short and small because he was a puppy, but then he started growing. He grew out of his puppy cage. He grew out of his dog cage. He grew out of 7 collars in a row. And when he finally stopped growing, let's take a look. Here we have Henry and big old Mudge next to Henry. And can I have Ken? Ken, can you read page 25 for us?
Yes, he weighed 180 pounds. He stood 3 feet tall and he growled. I'm glad you're not short, Henry said, and Mudge licked it. Then he sat on it.
Very good. So Mudge grew a lot. He weighed 180 pounds. He stood 3 feet tall and he drooled. I'm glad you're not short, Henry said, and Mudge licked him, then sat on him. So it looks like over here, if we take a look, Mudge is as tall as Henry is, and Mudge is sitting down. So we can see that Mudge is a really big dog. And the story says that Mudge is 3 feet tall. When he stands straight, he stood 3 feet tall. And he's 180 pounds. So I could convert that into kilograms for us, but he is very heavy. He's bigger than an adult person. He's probably about the size of an adult male at 180 pounds. And that's a big adult man. So he's a really big dog.
Like you, Miss Gully.
Not like me. No, he's even bigger than me. No, I'm that big.
My mom is 27 kilograms.
7 kilograms.
Can you get out of it?
So
20 kilograms.
So let's do some math. All right. So if he's 180 pounds, I'll look this up since my brain still works in pounds, not in kilograms. So he's 81 kilograms. So if he's 180 pounds, he's 81 kilograms. So he's really heavy, and he's tall for a dog. So how does Henry feel? We're not going to go through everyone's weight right now, but we can know that that Mudge is a very big dog. So how does Henry feel at the end of the story compared to the beginning? How do we think that Henry looks here compared to the beginning of the story? So let's look at Henry. What do we think, Daisy? How is Henry feeling at the end of the story here with Mudge compared to the beginning of the story? Or is he happy?
He's happy.
Yeah, Henry is very happy now that he has Mudge. In the beginning of the story, when he didn't have a dog, he was very sad and lonely because he didn't have any friends, he didn't have any brothers, and he didn't have any pets. So at the end of the story, you can see that Henry's very happy. He's smiling. He might not want Mudge to sit on him because Mudge is so heavy, but he is happy. He's happy to have a friend in Mudge. He's happy to have a good dog like Mudge. All right, everyone, let's play a game to practice what we learned in our story and our vocabulary. So we're going to do a team quizzes. We're going to do a team quizzes, and I will put the link in the chat. So we are going to play in teams for our quizzes. So the link is in the chat to play. So please click the link in the chat to join. We have 3 teams today. we have the tie-dye pandas, the grumpy monkeys, and the eerie elephants.
Miss
So
Kelly,
you
I
will,
don't want to play.
well, let's please play the game so we can practice our vocabulary. All right?
But my mom locked my computer. So
She locked your computer?
yes.
So if you are not able to join, I will put the questions up on the screen and you can follow along with the questions from my screen if you are not able to join. All right, but I would really like everyone to join. Yes.
And Untitled Pandas, there are three spiky in a row. I mean, three same avatars
Oh,
on time.
I see. Yeah, this one didn't load in. The eerie elephants didn't load in yet. All right, let's have 1 more minute to join and then we are getting started. We're going to get started in 1 minute. So let's click the link in the chat to join. If you're not able to join the game, I will put the questions up on the screen so you can follow along with the questions. All right, so our questions are about our story, Henry and Mudge, and our vocabulary words. So 30 seconds to join, 30 seconds to join. You are not able to join after I start the game since we are playing teams. So please click the link in the chat to join our game. We only have 16 players. There's only 16 of you that have joined. Let's join. 15 seconds. Yeah. Yes. All right. We have 17. Let's have 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds to join. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm getting started. All right, good luck, teams. I will put the questions on the board if you are not. That was a close game. Great job, Grumpy Monkeys. We had MKA, we had Ruby Tran, we had Philip, Balhan, and you have 2. Very good, everyone. Very good. And then the Eerie Monkeys came in second, and in third, we had the Tie-Dye Pandas. Good job, everyone. Good job. All right. Take a look and see if there's any questions that we all got wrong. I'm taking a quick look. All right. So how do we know that Mudge keeps growing bigger? So how do we know that Mudge keeps growing bigger? Oh, this was an all of the above question. We have to watch out for our all of the above questions. When we have all of the above, we need to be sure that all of the answers aren't correct. So from our story, we learned that Mudge grew out of 7 collars, so 7 things that go around pets' necks, that he grew out of his puppy cage and he grew out of his dog cage. So all of these things let us know that Mudge keeps growing bigger. So all of the answers were correct here. That was the only one that looks like we got the most incorrect. Good job, everyone. Good job. All right, for homework tonight, you are going to read the story on your own at home, and you're going to do Reader's Notebook pages 8 and 9. So you're going to go through the story and see how the characters feel, and you're going to reread the story on your own and write in the journal entries for 8 and 9 from your Reader's Notebook, your grade 2 Reader's Notebook. So this is going to be some independent reading. All right, do we have any questions? Can we hear me?
Yes.
Yes, all right, making sure my headphones disconnected. All right, so Reader's Notebook pages 8 and 9 for homework. 8 and 9 for homework.